Hey guys, welcome. In this tutorial I want to show you how you can send your calendar to yourself by email. So for example today I'm just having a random Hey guys, welcome, and I do this with this script and I want to receive it, and it would show up like this. Every morning I want to see my schedule for today. Well, the script is I made it in Google Apps Script, and you can see it's only 48 lines long. So it's very short and it's not hard, but I will show in detail through it the whole process of creating this script. Then with this button you can make a trigger, a daily trigger in the morning, and you say that you want to execute this function every day. So you say I do it every day at this time, for example, and now it automatically executes every day. So you receive every day the schedule for that day. It's really cool and useful because this layout is not super super good overview. So let's dive into the code now. The code you can see here is send list today by email. I'm getting the calendar, events today, and then list it and then send the email. This is the function that I'm executing, but we will go through it step by step. So to create this from scratch. You can find, by the way, the code also in the description below this video, so that you can do it very quickly if you need this script. Okay, I'm going to this URL script.new. It opens up a new script editor with a script, and this is where Google Apps Script works. So you can give it a name and then execute my function here. You do this with this button, and you can make use of the Calendar API with this object that has its own methods like get events for day, and this is a date object. So if I do this, I get the current time and date object. So this would be the events for day, and then I could save this in an array and call this events, and then I could log the events here, and then I'm also putting here a pointer so that I can debug it. Well, I'll show you what that means. It shows first, of course, we allow calendar to be accessed from this account, and this is the permission that you give. So make sure you know what you're doing. Calendars you can delete, you can edit them, and now for this script I'm getting the events for today, and now with this debugger this shows up, and I can look for the events variable here. And I'm seeing here what it is, so that I don't have to open the logger here, which actually shows something, but it always you have to wait a couple of seconds, and that's not so super nice feature of Google Apps Script right now. If I run it again, you can see that you have to wait, and then it shows up. In this case, it's going to be an empty array, and it takes a long time, you see. Well, it actually has one event. So what's the thing with the calendar? Because I'm having lots of appointments here and it doesn't show up, and it has to do that this doesn't know which of the multiple calendars you're using. So I have different calendars, and the person one is the one I put appointments for in the calendar. So what we're going to do is look for get calendar by name, and I'm looking for the person one calendar in my case. Maybe you have a different name here, you have to look it up here. It's exactly the same, and it says calendars because there could be multiple calendars with the same name. So this is going to give us an array of multiple calendars, and I'm taking the first calendar and I call this calendar. So this will be the first calendar with person one. If there's one more here, it takes still this one. Alright, so now we have the right calendar, and we can replace this here and move this down here. So now we have the events, get events for today of that specific calendar with this name, and then if we have multiple calendars, take the first calendar with that name. Alright, so I'm running the debugger again to see what I have for events, and now I see 12 events, which is this number of events here. I'm assuming that's the right thing. But the thing now is I have event objects. So if I click on this, I see methods like get, guest, end time, stuff like that. But I actually want to see the name and the guest and whatever I want to do. Actually, I want to map each event. So if I say, okay, let's take the first event, then I want to get, I think get title, yeah, get title. What else do I want to have? Get start time and get end time. Yes, these are the 3 things I'm interested in so far. So I have to map each event with these methods. So how actually do we do this? Well, I could make a new function on events, which is map. It takes an event and then it maps it to an object, and I'm using this notation, but this means this input should be mapped to this object, and this object should have title and then events dot get title and the other things I'm copying here, and then start time and end time. And then don't forget the commas here. Alright. Now if I save this, I get an error because I have an unexpected token here. And now I have an unexpected token there. And it has to do with this notation. This is arrow notation for functions. And now this assumes it's a block of a function. So if you write down la la la, you have also this notation. And it cannot know that this is the return value, this is an object. So if I add brackets here, now it knows it has to return this as an object. So this is actually the same as blah blah, and then return, and then this object here. It's just other notation. Alright, so now we have data of these events, and this data can also be logged. Well, we're gonna do it with the debugger again because that's quicker, and I get an error message. So let's see. Start time is not defined, of course, because this should be event. And there's another error. End time, oh, the same thing. So like that. And then debug it. And we're going to look for data. And now each event has a title and a start and end time, which is what we're looking for. So this data is great, but now I want to make this list and I want to sort it also at the starting time. So this start time here, which we have here, start time is a date object. And this starts at 10 o'clock. This starts at 11 o'clock. Okay, maybe we don't have to sort it. Let's then skip it. And if we have to sort it, we do it later. So let's go to the next step. We want to print out this information. So we want actually to map this again. And I can change this. So this data, I can do this. Data dot map. And then let's say info, and then print that. So info dot title and info start time. I just concat these strings together, and this will look very ugly, but it's just to get the idea of the map function. So let's call this a string and then see what it is. So we have string, which is an array of this thing printed out, and you can see that it has to do at the end, which is the title, and then the start and the end time, which is this and this. Actually want to display the start time only. Start time, only start time, end time is not in our thing, you see. I want to display it like this. So how do we get a date object to this format? So we're going to make a function displayDate. It takes a date object and it returns date got date, which is this part, then this, then date dot get month, which is this part. And get month is really strange because it starts counting from 0. So January is 0, so you have to add 1 to it. Now I'm adding extra brackets because otherwise this one could be concatenated to a string afterwards, and you get a really strange bug, which I can show you here to give you an example. For example, if I say 8 plus 9, it becomes 89. And if I do 8 plus 1 plus 9, this becomes 99. But if I would leave out the brackets here, it would also be 99. So in this case, it takes first this one and then calculates 9 and then adds them up. But if I would have another order here, yeah, and then you get, well, actually no, I'm adding even more. Yeah, this is the example that I want to show you. This compared to this. No, this. You see, now it makes a difference where you add the brackets. But I would just want to be safe in my script here, so I do this. Then another, I think it's called hyphen, I don't know for sure in English. And then we have date got get full year, and then we have a space, and then we have date got hours I think, and then date dot get minutes. Alright, I'm using this console to check out if it works. And now it works. This is the time exactly today, but you can see it's not super nice. I want to add a 0 here. I did this also here, which in my thing I added a 0. We can leave it out for now. We make it more simple. Maybe come back to this later. But this is displaying the date, this function. And what I can do now is I can apply this to the start time, then add a space and then the title, then run this my function again and see the string. And now I have kind of this list, and also here you have a 0 and it should be 2 digits. So let's go into that. So these things like date, month, hours, minutes, I want to always have a 2 digits here. So the trick for this is this. So for example, U is just one number, 3. Now this is a trick. Look, I take 2 zeros, then add up the U, and then I'm going to slice. So this will give me this, and then I'm taking the last 2 parts. And to take the last 2 parts is equal to slicing it with a -2. So it counts back from the end, and it says, give me the index that's 2 from the last point. The last 2. And now I have it. Alright, so this is the way how to make 2 digits. So show 2 digits number, return, show 2 digits, no, the number here. I don't know if I'm sure if I can use number, maybe it's a reserved word, but we'll check it out. And then show 2 digits, we can apply this to date, month also, a lot of brackets here, you can leave out 1. Get hours and get minutes, and not on the full year. I'm missing 1 bracket here, let me see. Of course it's this bracket I was missing, or I can leave out that. Yeah, that's even better. Let's debug this function again. We can see the string here, and now everything is right. It has everywhere, it has 2 digits. That's really cool. So displayDate is working now. We have the string. The only thing now we have to do is concatenate. So we say, okay, I want to make a list. So this is still an array because it maps an array. So what you put in is all these events in an array, and it maps the displays it really nicely. But I have to join the elements in this array with a new line symbol, and now it becomes a list. And we can check this. I don't know. List. Yeah. It doesn't show up the new line. I'm sure it's in it. And now we're actually going to send the email, and that's a really quick thing. Mail app, and then that's also an API that you can use, and then send email, recipient, subject, and body. So we're going to send this to ourselves. I can either do my email address here, but I can also do session get effective user get email, and that's the user that is logged in on the script. So yeah, calendar today, and then the body will be the list. Now when I run this function, I have to allow the script to have permissions here. Because you can send email by yourself, and now the script is allowed to do that actually. So let me see if that again after the first time when you allow, and oh no, I didn't have to do it, but actually here you have it, the list for today. So it's working, and that's a great thing. We can leave out this logger, didn't use it at all. Send list of today by email, send list calendar. And now the cool thing is that you can trigger this. I already showed you this. Add a trigger, and then do it time driven day timer every morning at 5 o'clock. And now you're sure that you receive every day the calendar of today. And the next step that I wanted to do with you is to clean up this code, and show you how to do it, because I had this script which looked much nicer, it's better readable. So I want to show you how to do that. First of all, here I was looking for the calendars by name, and I took the first of the calendar, so the first calendar that had the name person 1. I could make a function get first calendar with name, and then the name. Then I could say, okay, const, this is a function with the name, and it returns a calendar app, and now this will be the name that I'm putting in here, and then it will give me the first one. Then this should be person 1. I have something with initializer, I have to check that. Yeah, so I have to assign this to the thing. So this is the new ECMA notation, arrow notation for function, and this is the variable. So I had to add this assignment here, and now it should work. Yeah, it's working. So this first line says get first calendar with name, and the nice thing about this is that it reads really nice. So like calendar is get first calendar with name. I could also put this calendar person 1, and then apply get events for day, and I can do the same here, but I could make a function get events for today, and then, but yeah, maybe I can call this now, and this is also readable. So next thing is yeah, this function maps the event to values. So get event data could be a function here, get events event data, and this should be const, and it should do the same, actually the same thing. It's rewriting it, but now I can read more easily here. Events.map get event data, and this is where you can add also new things like get guests and stuff like that. Alright. Now what we have also here is that we have data and then we map again on it, so we can chain this. We do this like that on the next row, and it looks also nicer. And this is displaying, display event. Could also make a separate function, display event. It is actually doing the same thing. And then list is data.join. And then I'm sending this. Well, this already looks quite nice. But if you want to, this is also cool. You can also, let's first run it. Let's always check if it works. Yeah, it's still doing the same thing. And maybe you want to make this bold. So in order to do that, you have to go, I'm using mail-up-send email, and this is not HTML markup. To have HTML markup, you have to use this options. So this is this is create draft, but it works the same. Gmail app, send email, and then you have the email address, the subject, the body, and then the extra thing is with advanced options, and one of them is HTML body, so you can add that to it. So in this case, HTML body, and then list. And now list, we want to display that event here and add this sign here. That means it's bold. Actually, you should use strong, it's preferred, because in CSS you want to give only a description in the HTML, and then CSS that says what should be bold. So using like these for cursive we call in Dutch, or this for bold, is a bit like the old way. It's better to use strong, and then in the CSS file it's already automatically bold. Alright, so now we have displayed this with this strong, so bold layout. But there's one thing to do still. We can check if this works. It sends the overview now with this, but now you can see two things. Like first, well, the thing is you're missing the new line, because a new line is a break in HTML. So now we fix that. So this is actually how we want to have it. But also what we want to add this is the body, and this body should not be HTML but plain. So for now it's okay, but actually you have to replace everything that has like this in it globally, and then remove that. So when we do regular expressions, this is a regular expression, we say match any character, do this at least one time, and then do this as long as you don't see this sign, that this is the optional thing. So if you this regular expression means match anything up to this symbol, and then replace it with nothing, so remove it. We can look, if we do this will be just the body, and then send this to ourselves, and then we get this email. I already checked it out, so that's working fine. But for now it's not so important. It's just to show you that this should be plain text and this should be HTML. This is a way to do it. And also here we clean up the code, so we say send rich text email, and we make this function here, and okay, and then make a function here, and it should give the email a subject and body like here, and this should then be this one, and should be email here. Calendar today is just subject, and the body is this list, and this list should be the body. and we check again if this works, and yeah, it's working. Right, so that's the way to do that. Yeah, there's another thing with show two digits. You can do it in a more neat way, and that's really cool. Now it's like a function around something, so you take this as an argument. But what if this is a number type, so this is a type number, and you can make a prototype on that, number.prototype, and then make your own function, show, yeah, like 2 digits. And then say, I'm gonna make a function here, and then do something on this. So this is why this is the start. So this prototype, to get the value of the thing itself, you can do this.value of. So I'm returning itself, and I'm adding some sign to it. For example, let's test this. I do this in the browser here in the JavaScript console, and then I say, okay, we use 3 and then do 2 digits. And actually, it's not completely what I want. It added this exclamation mark, but it says object window, and that's not what I'm looking for. And this is actually a really interesting mistake, because it will work with this function, and the only difference is the arrow notation. So this is a function. I will copy this here. So this is already finished code, but just to show you that it works. And now I say u.2 digits. Now it's working, but in my earlier notation I gave the arrow notation. Something like this actually. So now it gives me this strange thing. And this is the we saw before. Let's just retrieve only the value here. Yeah, like this. And then we see it gives us a window. It gives you actually, this is not referring to the prototype, but to the window, and that has to do with the nature of arrow functions. If you would Google this, arrow functions scope, and what this refers to, you will find that in an arrow function, this refers to the scope that's a level higher. And we have when we have a function like this, it refers to the scope of the number, and that's actually what we want, because we want the value of the number. So that's the whole thing. This is quite interesting mistake here happening. So for this, we're going to use the old notation by purpose, and now this should work. And then we're going to use a trick to make the display 2 numbers, and the trick for that is that actually, so you have a number, you add this to it, and then you want to take the 2 last digits. Taking the 2 last digits, it can be done with slicing a string, and you count back 2 from the end, and you get the result. So this should be the thing you're looking for, and then we apply not an 8 but on number, and let me see. Oh, I'm working the wrong way. I'm using this value of, and now this should work. So now if I'm testing this out, and I have a number like 9, and I'm doing 2 digits, it shows me the 2 digits. So now it works on the prototype number. And what does that mean? That this gives me a number, and I can then do this 2 digits, and this will actually work as well. We do the same thing for the month here, and we do the same thing for hours, and also for minutes. I'm going to check if it's still working. and of course it is working. Well, now this still looks a bit messy, and I want to clean up. Actually, I want to separate this where you get the data and you have to reformat it. I want to do that first. So for example, I say date, display date. You don't use date here because I've already used variable date here, so I say display date, and now I can replace this with display date. Looks more better overview is here, constant, and we do the same thing for month, which is here, and full year could also be full year. So here, and then, well, you get the ID here. So now we have this, and this could still be cleaned up if you want. I think this is okay, but you can make it with this notation. And this is a literal, template literal. That means if you put in a variable, you surround it with this sign, and the rest is all string. So it's the next one, and then the month, and then the full year. And some people prefer this even because you don't have all these plus signs here, and then hours, and then minutes. So now we have cleaned up the display date function. Okay, what can we do more? We can, in the meantime, we test it out. Well, this I think looks nice. Yeah. So the script became even smaller than we had in the beginning, because I left out the sorting of the date. If you want to sort out the date, we can also do that. I did this here in this script. Sort start date. So we have this get events data first. So we get title, start time, end time. And then we want to sort the start date, so start time, and we get the time, and we use this function. I can explain you how I do this. So let's go back to what we have here. So in this point, we have the event data. So we have title, start time, and end time for each object in the array. And then we want to sort that sort start time, and we make a function here. And we say give us two items from the array, because we have to sort from two items, and then return E minus B. That's the way how to sort it. I will give you an example here. Alright, so let's say we have an array of numbers, something like this, and then we want to sort it. We could just use this, it sorts it automatically, but you can also use your own function, and this function should have an AB. This is an example. AB, and then return a number which is either below, I think, 0. Let's look up. Okay, we have it here. The compare function here, this one. If it returns less than 0, then leave A and B unchanged. If it returns 0 unchanged, okay, we can leave this out. And if it's greater, sort B before A. So, okay, let's see if I do just A minus B, not blur. U is not defined. Okay. And then do it again, and now it's sorting. And what it did is it did A minus B. So 1 minus 25 is a negative number. A negative number, then leave unchanged. So then it took the next one, 25 and 3. Well, this is positive, 25 minus 3. So that's then it changed the 3 and put it here. So 25 is the next, and it compares to 52. Now, well, 25 minus 52 is negative, so it leaves it as it is. Then 52 minus 4 is positive. of course. And then it sorts B before A, so 4 becomes on this spot. Then we're not finished yet. We go through it again, and I think it starts then at the second thing, so I'm not completely sure. Let's check. Yeah, so it compares everything against each other, and then goes through it another time, so that in the end you have an ordered array. If I change this B minus A, gives me the opposite order. And what I can also do, and now comes in the thing for our script, because we have an array of events, and in this event we have this information: start time, end time. So this could look something like this. We have an array of objects, and this has a start time, and this has a date object, and then the next thing here has it also, but now maybe the year is 2019, and then we have maybe another time, and now we have this array, and we want to sort this on the key start time. So we can actually do this. We do the same thing as here, but now A and B refer to objects. So we cannot simply do the subtraction of objects. We have to subtract and then have the key start time, which is a date, and a date you cannot, maybe you can do this. Let's just see if it sorted it, and actually it did sorted it. And if I change the the order of these A and B, now you will get the right order. You see, this goes from future to back to history, and this goes in the right direction. Okay, so this is the way to do it. That means we're going to sort this array of objects here, and we're going to do it here. Let's first do it here, and then we take the other order, because then it's really clear if it works. This is something for later. Send it to ourselves. So now I'm going sort back. Oh, this is not the right thing. Right way. And now it should first show the last one and go back, and actually that's working. So now I'm going to do A minus B, and then we are sure we have the right order, starting early and ending late. And also I'm going to clean up this piece, because this is sort start time, which is a function, sort start time here, and then run it, and the result will be something that we're very familiar with, this list. But now we're sure it's sorted, and we don't depend on Google for giving us the order in the array, which probably Google delivers. But this is the last part of the tutorial, and now we have a great script, clean code, and it's sent to ourselves with this triggered function every day, what we should do today from our calendar. Okay, thank you for watching, and see you next time.